Good morning, everyone. My name is Bruce Swartz. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out the research. Hey, check it out. A UFO on the surface of the moon going into a crater. But aside from what it's doing, what does it look like? If I were to recognize this on the surface of the moon, what would it look like on the surface of the moon? Trying to find these crafts. For example, if I was to see one, you know, parked on the surface. Some of the symmetrical things that we are seeing are passing off for buildings, they're passing off for this and that, but sometimes they really could be crafts. And I'm just showing this, just a glimpse out of even yesterday's video. You can see that. Different types of UFOs, just as bright, this one coming out of Copernicus, but no shadow. So does that shadow really have to do with the height that these UFOs are passing by over the surface? Here's another flyby information, but unlike the quick ones that we saw the other day, the UFO fleet were going at excessive speeds. Now, this is slowed down. They are going a lot faster than a plane, but they're not traveling at Mach speeds. So showing you guys that there are different speeds depending on at what level these beings or vessels or whatever, like this here, biological creature, whatever you want it to be, it depends on how high it is off the surface, you know, for us to see that shadow. I'm going to have to ask John Lear when he's flying up in a plane, at what height does he lose the shadow? Do you lose the shadow? Is the shadow always there depending on what size you are? You know, the bigger you are, the higher you go, the quicker or the less quick that shadow is going to disappear, or will it remain? These are all questions that I'm wondering because, we're looking through space. So we are looking supposedly far enough away, and we're not looking on the surface of Earth. So, we're trying to make comparisons often with these lights and with what we see here on Earth, and sometimes it's hard to do so. Do you see how the lights are interacting with the other objects on the surface? Now, this object is moving. It's a very big white cloud. As compared to this object, it would be like, 50 to maybe 100 times wider. Now, this object is about a mile wide because I've come to the conclusion and that these UFOs are about a mile wide. And I'm dead on approximate with the approximate, that's for sure, because I'm using math and the telescope. It can be solved, right? This isn't an impossible equation to find out how big I can see with my telescopes. And yeah, I'm seeing small enough. You just saw some type of corridor or shaft. That's what we just saw. This is Copernicus with the Terminator line alongside of it. An object towering off the crater side wall, the high edge. Here's a part where I'm going to lose many of you, but it's okay. I'm still going to show it. I didn't put it in the title, but if we were to see actual objects traveling on the surface, would we see shadows beside them? Probably so, because these shadows are a lot closer to these objects. Did you see what just happened to this one? And this is the one I want you to take particular note of. Guys, it's going downwards. Not these, never mind these in the black circle. Look in the red circle. See that black line? It's going to inch its way down. There it did. It just swooped down over that hillside. And that got to me, and I only saw it by slowing it down. So whatever this may be, I'm not declaring anything else but the fact that this object that I thought was flying swooped down, and it just so happens it's swooping down directly after a mountainous area. There we go. We could clearly see it. I'll show it a couple of times, just as slow as this. I can't get much closer because we are already pressed up into the surface so close. So using common sense, the closer the shadow is to there it did. It just swooped down off that hill. And there's a shadow beside it. But the closer the shadows are to the objects that are moving or that we are seeing, the lower to the surface of the moon they have to be. That is common sense. When a plane lifts off the surface, you see that shadow get smaller and move off and move away as that plane is rising up. But then again, when it's arriving to the surface, when you're landing in a plane, the shadow arrives and gets bigger and bigger and gets closer to the plane as it lands. And when the plane is landed on the surface, it is directly underneath or alongside it. And this is what we're seeing as this object swoops down off that mountainous hill. I hope I've explained myself well, and I've just showed something that's intriguing me, because I'm telling you, it's the first time I see a supposed flying UFO swoop down. Okay? And so, I mean, it's not a satellite, it's not debris, and now I'm starting to wonder if these objects aren't on some kind of a track or something on the surface. And what goes on tracks, children? Well, it could be a train, it could be anything, you know. Now I'm getting too excited, right? Well, I just wanted to bring that up because I want you guys to keep your minds and eyes open about the shadows and the way we are seeing shadows on the surface. You know, it's mixing us up, it's dividing us. We're fighting over these silly little things sometimes, but yeah, it's the reality of it all. This object is so pressed up to the surface that if it's not on the surface, it would be only a couple of thousands of feet, maybe hundreds of feet off of that surface, as we are seeing through clearings. And these ghostly entities are interacting. So we're seeing different types of UFOs. We're seeing different types of beings. I don't know what they are, but we're seeing them interacting with themselves. They're different. They have different sizes. They're expanding and contracting. And it's beautiful to see that on the surface. This is pressed up inside of a crater. This is how I'm getting these objects. They're in areas where nobody wants to go and see, and I'm sure nobody is. It's in dark areas, in lit up areas. Here's one of my favorite scenes. This took me over half an hour to be able to get it like this. And we're actually seeing the elevation of this object off the surface. It's a moving cloud, guys. You're looking through a crystal right now, a pure crystal, and a magnification device, and not through programming, but an actual device to magnify the image for you. And let me tell you, it is not bad at all. We're seeing more detail. I'm doing the comparisons with just a regular straight up shot. And this is as small as a letter on a dime. Okay? It's as small as a letter or a date on a dime. So we're zooming up and we're seeing that it is a cloud. Look at it. Look at it change its shape. Again, expanding, contracting. It's elongated. It has a cloud at the end with lights coming out of it. And if this isn't intriguing, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what is intriguing if this is not intriguing. It's just incredible. We're looking at a literal cloud on the surface of the moon. Okay, maybe it's not natural. Maybe it's a smoke and not a cloud. I accept that. I respect that. I understand that. But let me tell you something. You're going to tell me that you're going to see barbecue smoke from someone's barbecue from another planet? No, it has to be some type of cloud cover. And if it's not natural, it would be pretty thick. Look at these UFOs. This is one of the ones that I caught firing. UFO thrusters toning down as they hide in the dark. I don't know what it is. That's for sure. A UFO. A beautiful finding beside it. Now, you guys, check it out. If this is not intriguing to you, it sure is to me. We're looking at one of the objects, one of the projectiles that came out of the craft that you're seeing on the right there, the big red spot, as this craft is flaring up in extremely slow motion. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? We're seeing a spray, my friends, of that fire is illuminating the smoke or haze that the UFO has encountered. That level, the UFO is in that level of clouded area. So if it's smoke, they're damn close to the surface. Look at that fiery, I don't know what it is. It came out of the UFO. And it's a very, very bright light. I mean, it literally looks like a rocket thruster at the end. You can see the plume coming out of some type of vessel. You can't see the vessel, obviously, it's hidden, but you could see what's coming out of the back of it. And if not, guys, we are looking at an explosion on the surface of the moon once again. So either way, whatever you want it to be, it only gets exciting, and it's exciting either way. Whether it's a shadow, whether it's a UFO, whether it's a biological creature, it's something that the public eye has never had a chance to witness. And this is why I want to get more people interested in what we're viewing on the surface. This is the massive explosion that we're seeing, the massive fire miles and miles and miles around this UFO or projectile as it's toning down. Because don't forget, these could be bullets or something. If UFOs are shooting out a bullet that travels many miles and then explodes, so these could be projectiles that have a mechanism in them to a delayed reaction to be able to, you know what I'm getting at, okay? We have them here, okay? The military has them here, and just look at the fire around this UFO. Look at the interaction, and I mean, there's so much going on, and it's going on so fast that if I wouldn't have slowed this down, we would never have seen it. A great big thank you to Mr. Harold Hughes. Hi, Bruce, he says, just wanted to let you know that you're doing what I always wanted to do. I'm 81 years old and I'm unable to walk, so a big scope is out of the question for me. I'm seeing through your eyes and always believed we are not alone. Bro, thanks so much for the generous contributions and for connecting with me. And thanks for the wonderful message.